5, 4, 3, 2.
Come to me, Dark Warriors. Battle awaits us.
What it do, Pikachu? It's SideQuest Enthusiast, a gaming podcast about the quests we play to be who we are. I'm your host, Kyle V. Hiller, but you can call me Dr. Chillgood out here in these stages. And on this episode, I am joined by the innovative, the gracious, the radiant, the one and the only Lady Pelvic. Questies of the Land of Enthusia, give it up for Lady Pelvic. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk Zelda. Woo! Or am I not supposed to say that yet? Is that a secret?
I mean, you know, we are on the cusp of Zelda's 35th birthday, which is also the same day as my 35th birthday. So everybody's going to know it's time to talk Zelda. You know what I mean?
Happy early birthday.
But thank you. But yo, real rap though. I don't like to stan a lot, at least not explicitly, but I'm also super hyped that you were on the show.
Aww.
I've been a fan of yours for ages, and you know, every time a video comes out, it's just like, all right, it's Friday night, y'all. Lady Pelvic, let's go.
Aww.
I don't even know if I want to ever play these games. I just want to watch the review, and just like what I love about your work is that like you just bring such, again, like I'm very particular about the adjectives I use to describe each guest, and I think the whole thing with just your reviews are radiant. Like there is something that you bring light to YouTube reviews and gaming, because I think a lot of people are really keen on, you know, being negative in their content.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you, I feel like there's just this light, there's this kindness, there is this genuine interest in playing games, even if they're good or bad. And I think that's really dope about you. So thank you for being here. I'm really just honored to be talking with you right now.
Aw, well, thank you so much for the kind word. I feel so like, you can't see my face, but I'm all like, my cheeks are glowing right now. I'm like, oh, stop it. Stop it. No, thank you so much. And I really do appreciate when, you and others acknowledge that. I try to find like the good in games. I don't try to be like, sad or like, oh, this game sucks. Like if I don't like a game, don't get me wrong, I will say I do not like a game. I'm not shy from that.
Right.
But I don't particularly enjoy dogging on games. You know what I mean? Like it's, like, I want to enjoy a game. Why would I play a game hoping that I dislike it just to make, like, a spicy review? Like, I don't miss me with that, Not about that. So, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So, since we're here talking and we're done just gushing about each other, can you let our listeners know who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so again, my name is Lady Pelvic of Pelvic Gaming. I am a YouTuber, and I focus on primarily JRPG content, mostly reviews. I do some top 5 videos. I do the occasional, Zelda video, some Kirby video, some platformers. Platformers are probably my second favorite genre. JRPGs are my first.
Right on.
But I'm definitely big into that. And I kind of stream here and there. I'm a big Among Us player. I love Among Us. I have no Among Us content on my channel whatsoever. But when it comes to streaming it, I'm in it. I love Among Us. So that's like my current side game kick. Yeah.
Cool. So on the show, what I like to do, jump right in. Every first segment, we talk about level 1. And I have dug through the interwebs, the deepest, darkest corners of way back when, to find one of the first things you put out there in the world. And yeah, here.
Okay, go ahead.
It's gonna be a doozy. Well, maybe not. We'll see how this goes. So, it's scarier than it sounds. We'll talk about what was going through your mind, focusing especially on the what and the why, because it's important that we remember where we come from, and also give a little insight to the process to any listeners who might be thinking of embarking on their own little quests. So, Lady P, are you ready?
I am ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
It was a dark, hot night on August 11, 2014, where YouTube saw the uploading of a video called Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of a New World.
Oh my.
A review from Pelvic Gaming. This was your first YouTube review that you posted online, as far as I can see, ever. On this day, do you remember what was going through your mind or your body or both as you were putting this out into the world? What was going on?
Um, huh. What was going on? Definitely I remember being excited, but like a little tinge of nervousness, but like excited because like nobody knew me. I was like, oh, I'm just putting something into the world, whatever. But also there was like this fear, or not, I wouldn't say fear, but just like I know I could do better because at the time I didn't have the equipment to record gameplay. So imagine watching a review of a game
Right.
that has no gameplay, you know? So I knew it was so silly. I knew it looked ridiculous, right? And all my friends, like obviously I asked my friends for feedback and they were like, "No, it's good, but it'd be better if we could see the game." You know what I mean? It's kind of silly to be like, "Oh
Hmm.
man, you could level skills like this and you can do this, that and the other whatever." But it's like, "Oh, like I hear you, but it's hard to get a visual." You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I definitely felt like my review could be better, but for what I had, like I felt pretty good. I was like, look at me, you know? And then I thought like the camera quality was pretty good for being like a new YouTuber. You know, a lot of people record with like, I don't know, potatoes, right? So
Right.
I felt
Right.
pretty proud of myself, honestly. I I think my humor was pretty whack. I think my humor's still whack, you know, but I think that's all part of the charm.
That's part of the charm.
It's
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
the
Yeah. No doubt.
charm. But yeah, I felt more excited than nervous, honestly. I was really excited to start on this YouTube journey. Um but I think at the time I didn't realize how saturated the market is, you know? So
Hmm.
everyone does reviews, you know. My reviews, I mean, like yes, they're special cuz they're my reviews, but at the grand scheme of things, if we're being honest, you know what I mean? Like everybody does reviews. It's a
Right.
review is a review is a review is a review, right? And you can put certain twists on it,
Hmm.
but um you know, I eh, at the end of the day, I guess back to the main question here is I felt really proud. I was excited to embark on this YouTube journey. Um, but I just didn't know how also how taxing it could be. You know, you do it once and it's like, "Oh, this is easy." But then when you make 64 reviews, you're like, "Oh, a lot harder." You know? That energy is different.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm. Right.
yeah.
Do you do you feel like with this review in particular? Because I mean, I watched it, this week, and it still holds up.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I think the whole, not having game footage definitely, sure, that would have helped. But just kind of looking at it, I'm like, wow, again, the camera quality is there, the audio is there. I'm just like, is this her first review? Because it looks like she's been doing this for a minute.
Thank
Um,
you.
so with that in mind, though, you weren't doing just reviews when you first started your YouTube channel.
That is true.
You were doing a lot of con stuff, like you were doing some vlogs and some interviews and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And what was so with that in mind, when you were thinking about Pelvic Gaming, what did you have an idea what you actually wanted to do with the channel, or was it something that just kind of came together as you started just making something?
No, I knew I wanted to do reviews. Well, okay, correction, that's not true actually. I think I wanted to do more skits. That's what I wanted to do. However,
Mhm.
skits are just when you're a one woman show, it's difficult, you know, to get things together or get people together or just film yourself. Imagine being your own producer, writer, cameraman. I mean, it's a lot. Editor. It's a lot when you're trying to get certain shots. Sometimes you need people because you need to move. You
Mhm.
have you're not two people, you're one. But ideally, I wanted to do skits, but it changed into reviews because I was like, reviews are something I can do. I could sit in front of a camera. It's not um, super labor intensive, I guess, when it comes to like the film aspect. Sometimes I do put skits in my videos, which kind of scratches that itch, if you will. Um,
Mhm.
when it comes to convention vlogs and stuff, I think I just wanted variety on the channel. I think it was something
Right.
different. I think it was fun. I think it flexed different muscles of mine that could later be useful down the road when meeting just different people, just even outside of YouTube, right? So
Right.
and conventions, were just a fun way to break things up. And my audience got to see a different side of me, you know? It's more like out and about, I'm having fun, I'm chilling, I'm, completely different environment. I mean, even just like looking at me, right? Like oh my God, like, I'm just the whole body instead of just kind of like, your chest up. I don't know, it was all just different. There's a whole different feel of it. And I thought that was kind of refreshing to see, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Man, I miss cons. I hope that that's something that returns to the
I
world
know.
after all this is
I
done.
know. I know. Tell me about it.
Let's move forward and let's talk about some rare candy.
Mm.
And for those of you who don't know, rare candy is the thing you get in Pokemon games where you can just automatically level up your Pokemon. You don't have to go out and grind and fight and all the different Rattatas that are all over the place in every single game. But you, Lady Pelvic, have stumbled upon your own rare candy, and your inner Pokemon is about to evolve. It's a new year, 2021, and it only needs one more to level up. Just one more level. And you've got the rare candy. You got it. And your inner trainer says it's time to use the rare candy. So, when Lady Pelvic evolves, what's her next level? Or has she already evolved?
I'm working on it. I think some things I would like to evolve. Like when
And that doesn't even have to be gaming related either. That could just be like who you are. But
okay.
I'm gonna let you go ahead and take it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So
think outside the box as much as possible. Be funky and whimsical with it.
Okay, I'm thinking all like gaming related stuff. Okay. The next level for me, honestly, I think would go to my art. The next, I want to, something I've been working on is dynamic poses. I want my picture to look like it's moving, you know? I think I draw a lot of inspiration from the Persona Dancing All Night games because all their pictures, they move, you know what I mean? Like in mid animation, right, you could just freeze frame and that just looks awesome. You could see that picture, that frame move. And that is the next level for me, is I want to be able to do dynamic poses where it looks like people are leaning or picking something up or putting something away, running, and anything that has even the slightest bit of movement. It could be like adjusting a shoe, just itching their nose, something as small as that, right? But that is the next level for me, and I've been working very hard toward that. I have a lot of art books. I've been doing a lot of art studies and whatnot. So, yeah, it's kind of where it's my next level.
Word. Is that something you've kind of always done as far as just illustrating or whatever you...
Yeah, they say like, everyone gets like one natural, right, skill, talent, and art was definitely mine. And I think I dropped it, in elementary school and stuff, everyone, I was the artist. In middle school, I was the artist. And then in high school, your girl blossomed and started to become more social. And so art got put to the side. And I was like, oh, I want to, hang out with people and, just be a socialite. And that's what I was. So art took a back burner. And now I want to get back into it. And while I still have that kind of natural flow, I still have that natural skill. It just, it needs to be honed in, and perfected, if you would. So that's what I'm aiming to do, is to kind of pick up where I left off. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's like, I think there's something to be said about things like that, and I think a lot of people don't really give themselves room for, in a way, in the sense that there's something that you might have had when you were younger that you just put aside and then you come back to it. And I think there can be some scolding about that. It's like, oh, why did I put this down? Or why didn't I, ever pursue this more? But it's just like, you didn't want to at the time. And that's okay too. And it's okay to just come back to something later. It didn't go anywhere. So lucky for you, here's an opportunity to return to something as opposed to just having always been there.
Right.
And I think there's value in that. So yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to seeing some of your work.
Well, thank you.
Out there in the interwebs.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back from these commercial messages, which are not going to be any, but just pretend in your mind, we're going to talk about The Legend of Zelda. BRB, y'all.
Woo.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to SideQuest Enthusiast. I'm here with my guest, Lady Pelvic. And we have something very much in common, as you may have heard from the very beginning. We both love
Woo,
Zelda.
yeah, we do.
And I have to ask, like, okay, and like, this is going to be a big year for Zelda, but I want to take it way back when, for you at least.
Hmm.
Do you remember your first experience with
Oh,
Zelda?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell
It
us
was
about
great.
it.
So it was Ocarina of Time. That was my first Zelda. My mom says
Okay.
I played like the one on what is it? NES. Yeah, my mom says I played, but I don't remember. Like when I played it like 2 years ago, I was like, this is like a first for me. I don't know what you're talking about. But what I remember was definitely Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time was so important to me. Um, like, I remember getting a Nintendo 64 for Christmas, and Ocarina of Time was already, like, in there, like, the Nintendo
Mm,
was already unwrapped, all stuff, and it had Ocarina of Time in there.
right, right.
Your girl went into a room and never came out. Oh my god, just seeing the Hyrule Field or, like, even before that, the forest with, like, Navi, first person, she, like, bumps into a little fence, she's like, "Ew," you know? Then she wakes up, like, oh my god, it was, like, magical. It was exciting to see, like, this great Deku Tree, and you gotta understand, like, my mom's a D&D player, right? So, she likes high fantasy, I like high fantasy, so seeing, like, a great tree, you have, like, elven children who never grow up, like, mystical and magical, stuff, at night skeletons appear and ghosts appear, and at daytime they all like shrivel back into the earth, and it's awesome. Like the bridge rises. It was so exciting for me, fighting giant dongos and figuring out puzzles, different walks of life, the Gorons, the Dekus, the what do you call it, Zoras. Like it was just it was so fantastical. You can go wherever you want. Like I went to like I think the Lon Lon Ranch, before I was supposed to. I mean, it was just the world was so open. I was just like, whoa. This is the
Hmm.
future. Gaming can't get any better than this, and it was
Yep.
just it was miraculous. I wish I could experience this again. I wish I could wipe my mind and play it like as a child again. I don't want
Hmm.
to even play it in 2021. I want to play it when this was like peak gaming graphics, right?
Right, right,
Um oh man. I absolutely loved Ocarina of Time. Loved it. And that is one of the games that just set me on the path of becoming a gamer. So I just
right.
owe so much to that game. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Were you into games before that?
Mhm.
Or like
Yeah, oh
how
yeah.
much were you into them?
See, so I call it like the trifecta. It was if it
Okay.
wasn't I mean, there are 4 games, but I like to say the trifecta because it sounds cooler.
I mean, you could call it the Triforce, but
Yeah, see the triforce of games. There we go. I like that. The triforce of games. If
there you
it
go.
wasn't Zelda, Mario, or Sonic, I didn't touch it. But that's not true because I also played Pokemon. So that's what I mean by
Mhm.
4 games. But those were like the 4 games I definitely played. If it didn't have that, or maybe an anime look to it, because later I did play Fantasy Star 4 and Wild Arms,
Mhm.
which were my first JRPGs. Fantasy Star 4 was my first JRPG. But
Oof.
yeah. Yeah. But but yeah, if it wasn't those 4 games, I didn't touch. I didn't want to play it. I was very specific, I was like, if it's not Pokemon, why am I playing it?
Right.
It's very now I'm definitely like I'm a lot more open-minded and stuff, but
Mhm.
it took me a while. Like Shadow of the Colossus was I think one of the games that really started to push me to other games. Shadow of the Colossus ain't no Pokemon, Zelda, or Mario, I'll tell you that.
No, it's not.
So, you know, but
Yeah.
yeah, so it was definitely a lot of it was contributed to Zelda, Pokemon, Sonic, and Mario for sure.
Right. Right. No, I get that. See, I was lucky. I got A Link to the Past, Super Mario Kart, and Mario World all on the same Christmas. And
Wow.
I still remember that Christmas day very vividly. This was like in 92. And I'm just like, and we got a new TV that day too. And I'm just like, yo, what did I do to deserve this? And just like, I hadn't really heard of Zelda before that day. And when I played it, because I didn't play it first, I played the other 2 games first. Because I was
Mhm.
like, Zelda, this sounds hard. I don't want to play this game. And I'm like 6 years old, mind you. And I played it and I'm
Aw.
like, oh my God, this game is amazing. And I didn't think I would experience anything magical like that again. But then Ocarina of Time came out. And I guess my thing is, for you, is there any other Zelda that has felt as magical for you as Ocarina of Time did when you first played it?
Of course, Majora's Mask, baby. Majora's Mask, baby. Oh
Okay.
man, are you kidding me? You get to be a Goron, Zora, and Deku. Like what? What? That was
Right.
awesome. That
Hmm, hmm.
was fantastic. Like I didn't need the giant field. I was freaking Zora. Like oh my god, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was amazing. I was like, oh my god, like a Goron like rolling around. Oh my god, that was everything. I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm out of here, suckers. It was amazing that you had different masks. Like, oh man, Majora's Mask definitely. Like, I think they both had magic. Like, okay, if we're being technical, I think Ocarina of Time had a little bit more just because it was like the first Zelda game. But like,
Hmm.
Majora's Mask definitely had just a different kind of magic. A more somber kind of magic for sure. But just the fact I could be the different races, oh my god, I lost my freaking mind. So
Right. It, there's so much subtext with that game too, right?
mhm.
Like I I just got finished watching another video, you know, that compared Majora's Mask to like the five stages of grief, I guess, or four or five
Yes.
stages of grief, and like every level, like Clocktown, Deku Swamp, Goron Mountain, Great Bay, Akana Valley, they're all the stages, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, yo, and then I think they even spun it in such a way that they're like Link is the bad guy here. First of all, there's always the controversy that Link might be dead in this one, which it
Mhm.
would probably make sense given like he can turn himself into a statue and all that other stuff, just like all the other masks and all that. But like I think this is a quote from the person's video. They were like, um, the Skull Kid was trying to defy and cover up death and defying death by stopping the moon from falling. And then Majora, had caused half the problems to begin with, but that's because Majora is an allegory for the concept of merciful death, but also Majora is not only the bringer of death, but the reason you would want to die in the first place. And everybody in that game has this reason as to what's their big anguish. Like Anju and Kafai, like that whole side quest, yo,
Mhm.
is wild to me. And
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
and I find it hard to argue this, but because Breath of the Wild for me is was an incredible game and it had that magic for me too, but I have to ask you, what is the best Zelda and why is it Majora's Mask?
It's Majora's I think there's so many things that are impressive with Majora's Mask. Not only it's the development of 1 year, but I
Mhm.
think how it explored grief and death, like being a game that's rated E for everyone, right?
Which
It's
is
like so
crazy.
much subtext, so
Mhm.
much heart and so much to think about, when you're like helping these spirits that can't pass on, when you talk to the Goron, he's like, I was a great champion and I was trying to save my people from, I think it was like the tower, I think like the blizzard or whatever, I froze to death, and he just can't rest because his
Right.
people are in anguish and in danger, and it just and like see, oh my god, like when you really sit and think, I think as a child, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Whoa, give me your mask,
Right.
But as an adult, I think when I sat down, as Mikau, or Mikau, I don't know, the Zora guy, when I got his mask, when he, like, it was funny to me, but it was also so bittersweet, right? Where he's like
Mhm.
singing to you, he's like, baby,
Baby,
ow,
ow.
you know? But he's
Yeah.
singing, he's like, and he's telling you about how he tried to get his girl's eggs back, like who I think his baby's back, his
Right.
children back. That now you take on this dead lover, and you're like, this is like really depressing.
Yeah.
Your girl doesn't have a voice, and you just want her to sing again, and she wants her children back. I mean, what mother does? It's like it's a lot. It's just so much. In like a child game, right? It makes it lighthearted. It seems lighthearted and all this stuff. Like, oh, this angry Deku King, he's about to roast a monkey because this monkey allegedly kidnapped the princess or whatever.
Right.
You don't think about it as a kid, but like when you think, you're just about to like murder an innocent person, Like take away monkey
Mhm.
and put person there and you're like, whoa, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
kind of insane.
And
Um
it's wild too because like they were upset. The Dekus were so upset about the princess being missing that they didn't even go look for her. They were just like,
mhm.
"We're going to accuse this monkey of having done it, and then we're going to roast him." And I'm like, "Well, how about you just fix the problem of finding the princess first?
Yeah,
It's
like
weird.
that's what I'm saying. It was just a lot of heavy stuff, you know, a lot of heavy themes of death. When you just look at when you really just examine characters like, you know, Anju and Cafe, I don't know how you say his name, but you know, they chose each other, you know? They were like, I don't want to die alone. Like I'd rather
Right.
be, you know, squashed under the moon with you than alone. I was like, "Oh my god," then flee, you know? And I was like,
Yeah.
"Holy crap." When you just think about these characters and what they've been through and what they're willing to go through for other people, and it just I think it all just kind of comes together. Like, what would you do in your final days kind of thing.
Right.
And it does
Hmm.
make you think, what would you do in your final days? You
Yeah.
have 3 days left to live. What do you do? You know?
Yeah. And it's
So,
weird too because I think with Majora's Mask, I mean, this is basically just going to be us talking about Majora's Mask.
yep.
Maybe we'll dive into the other Zeldas, but whatever. This doesn't matter. Majora's Mask. I think what's interesting too is that you have to remember that the other characters don't know how much time they have left. You know,
Yeah.
when Kafai and Anju finally link up, if you complete the side quests, it has to be you can only finish it on the last day. And that's
Mhm.
when, it's going to be inevitable that they're going to die unless you reset again and then you're doing this loop again, this whole groundhog's day thing over and over and over again, stuck in this loop. And the fact that they don't know that they're about to die, but they know they're about to die, they just don't know when. And the fact that
Right.
Link does, and he's the silent hero as always. Um
Mhm.
they can't do it. It just makes it even more just heart wrenching that they
Yeah.
don't know, but they're here, ride or die.
Yeah, it really did have some dark and heavy themes. I think it was again kind of covered with um you know, it's all in the subtext, I believe. It's all in the subtext and you know, in a Zelda game and you know, it looks I wouldn't say it kind of looks cartoony. I mean, as much as like the graphics could go, right? It's
Right.
not like they could give us like quote unquote like Twilight Princess level like realism, but
Hmm.
yeah, it definitely it's all about the subtext, really, when you think about what these characters have done. If you're just like reading the text like, "Oh, Goron mad because or sad because you know he's dead, you know, and can't protect his people. He was a great hero. Oh well, he'll get over it." Then yeah, I mean, of course you're not going to feel feelings, but
Right.
yeah, when you put yourself in the game, I think it's hard not to feel sometimes. Like every time I hear the song of healing, you know, the song
Yeah.
of healing, it's so somber but so like strangely peaceful, you know. Um,
It
so
yeah. There's because healing, I feel like you can't heal unless you've had pain. You know what I
right,
mean? It's just taking on that, somberness in a different way, taking on death or the thought of death into account of the fact that, I don't want to lose you, but I might have to if I want to move on. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yep. So it's deep stuff, man. It's deep. We could talk about Majora's Mask all day. This is the podcast now.
Yeah,
Majora's
yeah,
Mask
right?
podcast. Woo.
I mean, not for nothing, SideQuest Enthusiast, the entire concept of it is inspired by Majora's Mask because I wanted to do a podcast that captured everyone's stories and how they ended up where they're at, and why they're doing the things that they're doing. And I think just building a community around that and just like, hey, here are all the stories of all these different people because that entire game is not about the 4 dungeons you go through. It's about the people you meet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that just really spoke to me because that game came out in 2000 when I first played it. It was
Yep.
then, and I really hadn't played anything like that before, except for maybe like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI. But even then, it didn't really get that personal like this game did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's another thing that makes it so great. Like, I'm pretty sure this is the game why I like kind of time trials. So like I have a love-hate relationship with time trials to be honest, but I think this game
Right.
made me like be more accepting to time trials, but also I'm pretty sure this is the game that made me love side quests. You know, I
Yeah.
love talking to the people. Each person has their own story. They have their own schedule, you know, when they go through the loop, they're
Right.
like postman's at this time, postman goes to this mailbox at this time, this one at this time, you know, the bomber kids now that their yes version's out, you know, they have bomber's notebooks so you can kind of keep track of everybody's like problems and dilemmas. um you know, you get clues like, oh, I hear music out at night, you know, at night by like the snow mushroom. So you go out, you see this dude dancing, you know, he's like, oh, I just want my dance to be passed on, you know. It's so interesting and it encourages exploration. And what happens is you get closer to these people knowing their story, which makes all like the doom even worse.
Yeah.
It's no different than like, okay, when if the moon was coming down in real life, right, and then Joe Schmo down the street, like, I mean, not to sound heartless, but you don't particularly care if they die. Like, you don't want them to die, but like, you don't know them, right? So it's kind of like,
Right.
whatever. But then when you get to know, if you got to know every single person in your neighborhood individually, what they like, dislike, you go to their parties, barbecues, fiestas, all that craziness, and then the moon's coming down, it's sad. It's like, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to go to this person's house and play video games, play Super Smash Brothers. I'm not going to be able to go do this, and you know what I mean. Like,
Right.
it's just, it's when you get to know these people and their stories and what their goals are, and knowing that their goals aren't going to be able to come true, I mean, it just makes it even worse, right? It's just like, oh
Yeah.
my god, when you get to reunite people, right? It's like, oh, Andrew and Cafe, that's great, but it's not going to last long. But
Yeah.
and then it also kind of makes you think like they just enjoy the brief moment they have together. And it comes back to time and how much do you value it, and how you spend that time, right? Spend it with the ones that
Hmm.
you love. If you had 3 days left to live, what would you do? What would you do? Do you
Yeah.
want to win the dance competition? If you're doing, you won't be able to be the best dancer in the world, in 3 days, but can you win this competition now that you've learned a new dance from Link,
Right.
Like, it's just it really does make you think. It really
Hmm.
does make you think. How would you spend your time? And all you can do is kind of reset it. Knowing that these people are going through this painful loop day in and day out. You're the only one who knows that, like, what's going to happen.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's something to be said about the fact that with Link, um, we don't really know what you know he would be losing. Um, but he does play such a huge role in the fact that he's helping everybody cope with whatever losses they may be, coping with or whatever, or could be doing the opposite where he's prolonging them from being able to cope, like he does with all the masks that he gets. It's like, oh, look, it's Darmani after all. He's still alive. And I'm like, well, they probably should mourn because these Gorons are doing nothing but just praying and bargaining towards having something. But like with it's like Link has the capacity to save the world and he does it, and that's cool. But like everyone has these moments. Anju and Kafai have this special moment together at the end of the world, and that is a gift. Because if the world were really going to end here in real life in like 3 days, big old moon just coming down with a face, what would we do? And how would we distill all the things we want to do into the thing we really want to do?
Yeah. Damn.
I don't know if that's something I can do today.
Right. Yeah. No, it does make you think, man.
Yeah,
It does make you think. And that's a
it
good
really
point, though.
does.
I never thought of it that way, that, Link, in a sense, is like, obviously he's meddling, but his meddling could not be great because they should mourn, like their hero is dead. And,
Right,
but at the same, it's kind of weird, but at the same time, like, even if it's a temporary, like, fix, right? Like, there's hope. Like, he instills hope into the Gorons, hope
right.
that they can make it through this winter and this trying time because they can't get like the rocks or something because Snowhead Temple is, messing up the ecosystem and all that crap, right?
Yeah,
But it might postpone it, but might be for the better. Like, hey, you need to get through this here and now. Here's a quick fix. Hey, I'm Darmani, guys. Check me out. I'm the hero. Woo! And then suddenly it kind of like reinstills hope and like, oh, we're gonna be okay. He's come back. Look, your son is happy. Yada 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 yada. Right? So, like, you definitely raise a good point, but I also think Link is kind of a symbol of hope, right?
right, right,
Um, like, it's hope, like, oh my god, this band can happen. Oh, it's hope that, like, woo, Darmani's alive. We will be saved after all. Oh, there's hope. There's hope for like the butler, right? Like, oh my god, you remind me of my son, like the Deku butler or whatever. Like, even
right,
though he's
right.
dead, it kind of gave me. I don't know. It just kind of, I felt like kind of woke him up a little bit. It's just different. You raise a good point with Link should let people grieve, but I also think sometimes people need that kick in the butt, like, oh my god, he is alive.
Yeah.
We can make it, guys. We can do it. And then, of course, the crashing disappointment of, sorry, Darmani's actually dead. I'm just pretending to be.
Right.
Uh,
Though they never find out, which is cool for them. And I think that's I love the point that you kind of land on here with Link being that the hope, because they all understand or come to an understanding that this person, this Goron, this Deku, this Zora that Link is presenting himself as, they're dead, but they understand now that that person is alive in a different way, that they're alive within them,
Mhm.
and that you
Yeah.
don't need them anymore because you're still more than capable to move on. Loss sucks, but it's not the end of the world. Maybe in this game. So yeah, that's dope. I like that.
Ver very beautiful ending. It won't end, the world won't end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But I do think, and I do like the stages of grief, analogy too. I think the writer said that's not true, that, like, he didn't draw inspiration from that, I think, don't quote me on that, but I still
Right.
pretend it is that way anyways, because I think it fits, you know? I personally think it's great, the 5
Right.
state, and everyone's in denial, and people are angry, and people are bargaining, you know? Like, the Goron definitely did bargain. He was like, "Oh, if I only had one more chance, like, wouldn't you do something for me?" Like, he literally bargained
Hmm.
with Link. Like, if
Yeah.
I remember
Yep.
correctly, he literally
Hmm.
bargained with, like, I was like, "Oh, he's doing the thing."
Yep. Yep.
He's bargaining. And then what's the next one? What's the next stage after bargaining?
Depression, which is Great Bay.
Yeah, yeah, Lulu lost her voice.
Hmm.
Yeah, mhm, that
Yep.
sounds about right. Yeah, she
And
was just
Ikana
worrying
Valley
all the
is,
time.
yeah, exactly. And and if you get to like the third day and you don't rescue all the eggs and stuff like that, she just stares off into the ocean and doesn't say anything to you.
Yep,
And oof, that rips my heart out every time.
yep.
And especially because like going into the game, you don't know. I think it's so great, and I hope people listening, if I should probably put a warning before this episode, where it's like, if you haven't played Majora's Mask, major spoilers, go into this game not knowing anything, because discovering these people's stories is so much part of the magic.
It
Um,
really is.
yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right, Akana Canyon, yep, that's acceptance. They're just dead. They're like, "Woo, we're dead.
yeah,
Oh, we're happy to be it, like, whatever. We live in
yep,
our best life. We're dead. I'm still king, of this iconic
right,
castle here, like, woo," you
yep,
know? I mean,
hmm,
when you wear, I forgot what mask you wear, but, like, the zombies start dancing, like, they just accept. They're like, "Yeah, we're dead," and we're
yeah,
just like, the dead is so alive, it's I don't know if you've seen Corpse Bride, but it feels like, where the living is so drab. Have you seen Corpse Bride? Or
I
no?
have, yep,
Okay, yeah, the living is so, I mean, there's, like, monotones, they're dead, whatever, and then, like, the dead is actually just so alive, full of neon colors. That's how it makes me feel, like, Akanya Canyon is so, well, can be so alive, particularly when they're dancing. When they're not
right,
dancing, then, okay, it looks dead because it's barren, there's crows, there's those, what is it, like, Guido people or something like that? Oh my
hmm,
god, they
yeah,
tried
yeah,
to
yeah.
kill you. I'm like, "What is your problem, bro?
It's
Leave me
so
alone."
wild. Yeah. But hey,
But yeah,
listen, I
it
mean,
is.
if that's what death is, you just put on a mask and you turn up. I'm
Yeah.
cool with that.
But that's, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, kind of can is acceptance. Yeah, they're just like, we're dead and we know we're dead and we're cool
Yeah.
with it.
Uh, yep.
So,
The game is
but
so
yeah,
haunting.
it is really haunting. That, I think, you know what? I think Akanya Canyon's a great area because they do a great job of keeping it so dead but so alive. Because again,
Yeah.
when those people, like those Guido people, whatever, come and like try to slit your throat, I'm like, whoa, hey, oh, but they come out of nowhere, But you
Right.
have crows, and the crows do attack you. There'll be like zombies around the house, and there are things to do in the canyon. Like there's that like Poe lady there. She's like, "Oh, you want to play
Right.
my game?"
Hmm.
There's a well. There is the whole castle and stuff. It's very interesting. So it's so barren, but yet so like full of things. You
Right.
know, I thought
Hmm.
that area
Hmm.
was very well designed. Personally, I thought it did
Yeah.
a great job. Just a lone house there with a giant, what do you
Yeah.
call it, player? Like, I don't know what you call it. Not
I, f-
trumpet, but record player thingy. I don't know.
I forget what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
you
I know
know what
what
I'm
you're talking
trying to
about.
say.
Yeah. 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 It's, man, that game is
Yeah.
something else. I started playing it over again last year on 3DS, but I need to go back to it.
Oh man, I have to do my yearly playthrough. I mean, the year just
Yeah.
started, so
Yeah. It just
but
started.
yeah, it's a lot of fun to go back to it. I every time I go back to it, it's just a joy. It is an
Yeah.
absolute joy. For the first
Hmm.
time, I actually got all the fairies. Ugh, God.
Oof.
Getting all the fairies in the
Congrats.
Stone Tower Temple is the worst. Like, I had to break out my guidebook. I was like, "Hold up." Like, Stone Tower Temple to this day still confuses me. The music is
it
bomb, but, oh god.
Yeah. It's a doozy for sure.
Yeah, and when you
Um,
inverse it, I'm like, I don't even know what is life right now? What is going
yeah,
on?
it makes my head hurt. I'm just like,
Yeah,
no, don't do this to me.
I know. Like I have a love-hate relationship with that temple. I think
Yeah.
it's a incredibly like innovative temple, like interesting, right? Like it's upside down. Like this is crazy. But my god, navigating it, especially if you're trying to get all the fairies, is like the absolute worst. If you're not
Hmm.
trying to get all the fairies, I can do it, but your girl tries to get all the fairies. So, and I remember, oh, I was on the time crunch. Like my last playthrough, I was on the time crunch for twin mold. I I was on like the 5 minute mark, right? And I did play the Song of Inverted Time to slow time down, but that was the scariest moment of my life. I was like, oh my god, because you can lose mid boss battle, right? And I'm just like,
Right.
let me
Yep.
just collect this mask and then play the song and then reset everything. Oh no, I can't
Mhm.
even do that because I have to go back to the fairy place and I have to turn in the fairies.
Yeah,
Like I,
exactly.
oh my god, whew, it's scary. And the thing is, if you don't collect all the fairies and you reset time, you have to get all the fairies again. And I
Yeah,
was
and that's
not
oof.
doing that. I
Mm-mm.
refuse.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So yeah,
I feel
it's
that.
a time. It's a
Yeah.
time and a half. It's a time and a half. Have you got all the fairies before?
I only ever get all the fairies when I play.
Oh,
Whenever
interesting.
I play any of those temples, I'm just like, do everything once. I'm not coming back here.
Yep.
I
Mm-hmm.
will see you next gameplay.
Yep. Yep. That's what I did. Like my first playthrough, obviously I didn't. I just was like, woo, I'm doing stuff. Actually, my first playthrough, I never got the what do you call it? The super mask. Oh my god, fierce
The
deity
fierce
mask.
deity.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
never got it because I'll have you know, I got all the masks, but freaking like I could not beat the Goron challenge for the life of me. For
Mm.
the life of me as a child. And then I beat it for the first time last year or 2 years ago, whatever. And I finally got the fierce deity. I was like, "Oh my god, thank you." But the Goron challenge is the worst. I hate it. I hate it
It sure
with every
is.
fiber in my being. I hate it.
It is tough. Like a
So,
Goron.
yeah.
That's impressive though, because the first time I played it, I got the Fierce Deity mask, but the second time I played it, I did. I got it, but I didn't use it on Skull Kid, and boy, is that battle tough in the end.
Oh,
At least for me, it was. I
yeah, yeah.
struggle with that final boss in that game.
I don't think I struggled too hard. Like, even though I didn't get it, I remember as a kid, like I don't know, like I don't know. I just don't believe in losing. I will pop out everything I have
Right.
before I die. Like, I don't because I don't remember losing to Majora ever before, whether it is with or without the mask. But the
Mm.
second time, like again, when I played it last year, I got them. Like this was my first time playing at, with Fierce Deity and using it. Oh, I felt so powerful. I was like, oh man, I'm unstoppable. The only thing that upsets me is you can't be like Fierce Deity outside of
Yeah,
boss battles.
I think that would terrify a lot of people in
Yeah, but
Termina.
I okay, but there was literally a moon with a face above them. You're telling me
True.
you're telling me just a man with like, I don't know, like cool tattoos, like is scarier than a literal moon about to with a face that's about to crash down and literally gets closer every time. Nah, sorry. I
I don't know,
can't see.
man. Because listen, I bet you if in the real world there was a giant moon with a face coming down on Earth, people would still be afraid of black people. So, I mean,
Yo,
you know.
yeah, people. It is kind of interesting what people are and aren't afraid of.
Hmm.
It's very interesting what people are and aren't afraid of. There's literal, I don't know, death above you, and they'll still be afraid of their neighbor. I'm like,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
like all right, that's fine, that's cool.
People. Yep. It's a weird thing, fear, and what people choose to fear. But I'm not a psychologist, so we're not going to go down that road here.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I do want to take it back a little bit before we jump off the Zelda train. Um, these spirit tracks out here. Um,
Hmm. Love it.
there are a couple of games. So I know Majora's Mask is your favorite, and I knew that going into this. But I
Hmm.
wonder what your favorites are beyond that. And I know in your review of The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, you gave it a 9.99. Because you were quote unquote salty about the hitboxes, which
I
I
was,
understand.
I was.
But in your review, you also said, quote, that you reluctantly agree that Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is better than the Ocarina of Time. This was posted about 5 years ago on YouTube, and today is now February 6th, 2020, as of this recording. You've had 5 years to make up your mind. Is A Link to the Past better than Ocarina of Time?
Define better. See, I think it's better because you get such an arsenal and the world is yours to explore. Like you don't have to do the temples in the order they're listed. It is
Right.
advised because there are some bosses you literally cannot beat. For example, like that ice boss is like
Yeah.
that. There's an eye encased in ice. If you do not have the fire rod, you literally cannot beat that boss. You are just dead. You know?
You could use the Medallion of Ether, though, or whichever one has the fire medallion. I forget what it's called. Because
Oh,
I did that. I actually did that. I didn't have the fire rod the first time I fought that boss, but I did have the medallion that uses fire. I had to use like green potions, but I did it.
oh my god, good job. Holy
Yeah.
crap, good job. And I forgot there was an ether medallion. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. See, I was a chicken shit. I did it in order. I was like, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm doing it in order, like a good
Yep.
person. But
Hmm.
you're right. But
Hmm.
that's what I'm saying though. That's what makes it so interesting. Is like Link to the Past is literally the blueprint, in my opinion, of Breath of the Wild.
Absolutely.
Because there are so many ways. Breath of the Wild, you do whatever you want. You can do whatever four temples you want to do first,
Yeah.
and you get different items in different areas that help you with different things. And I mean, we've all seen the crazy things you could do in Breath of the Wild, right? On Twitter, people post their, writing logs across the map and
Yeah.
how they destroy guardians by like flinging them up into the stratosphere. You know what I mean? Like it's
Hmm.
insane what they do. But Breath of the Wild literally took Link to the Past and cranked it up to an 11, right? But it was like what makes Link to the Past so great is you have this arsenal and you can do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. But like if you don't have the right items, you're right, you are screwed. But if you like the medallions are optional, if I'm not mistaken. All the medallions I believe are optional. You get
Yeah,
by
they're
just
optional.
exploring.
Hmm.
So and that's what's great about it is it encourages exploration. There's so much to do. There's pit holes to fall down, there's bushes to burn, right? And there's mini games to play and all this stuff that uncovers different things. There, I think the medallion of earth or something you get by talking to a fish, if I'm not mistaken. Like the fish is pulled from some, I think like old Greek or not Greek. I'm sorry, Japanese lore. Like like if you wake up the fish gets pissed off and gives you a medallion or something like that. It's very
Right.
interesting.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I do think it's I can't say it. It's so hard. I do think it's better. I am still reluctant to say it because I just have such a soft spot for Ocarina of Time, so I don't like talking bad, about it.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
I love it. But um I do I definitely do think that Link to the Past is just it's just a wee bit better because Ocarina of Time you do have to do things in particular orders. Um or at least in the beginning part you do. I think the dungeons, the 8 dungeons, even some of the end dungeons, like after you pull out the sword, I think you
Yeah.
have to do some of them in certain orders. I don't think you could just go willy-nilly. Can you? Maybe in some of them?
Um. Maybe.
Oh.
I think it kind of, there's some things you can do out of order, but not. It's weird. It's out of order, but not.
Because I know in some of them you have to do okay, when you play as grown up Link in Ocarina of Time, you can do 5 dungeons in any orders you want. Okay,
Right.
see, the only restriction being that you have to do the Forest Temple first,
Yeah.
then the Water
Yeah.
Temple
Right.
second. Okay, to get the bow and the long shot for the
Oh,
other
the water
puzzles.
temple is
Okay.
second.
Yep, the Water Temple is
Oof.
second due to needing the bow and long shot for puzzles in the other dungeons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess it has
Dang.
a little bit of a hybrid. So it has a hybrid of it. I think what but even so, even with the hybrid or whatever, I would say that Link to the Past has just a bigger arsenal.
Hmm.
And it doesn't you talk to Sarah Hashalala, that guy, I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
him, but, talk to him and then you just go.
Yeah.
You go wherever you want, whenever you want, however you want. I mean, it's advised you do it in order, but if you don't, that's fine, and maybe you do have the correct medallions or, alternative methods to beat bosses and enemies and whatnot, and for that, more power to you, you know? I just know
Right.
I never wanted to be caught off guard. I was like, uh-uh. Because knowing my luck, I wouldn't have had the medallion, the fire rod. Like if I did not do it in order, and I met that ice cap boss, I'd been like, oh, I'd been so mad. I'd been like, oh my god, you know.
Yep.
I also think, well, I don't want to say the dungeons are better. I'm trying to remember Link. I hate to say this, but Link to the Past is probably like the least memorable to me out of all the Zelda games I've played. I find it to be the least memorable. But I'm trying to remember like the dungeons. There was one dungeon in Link to the Past I really, really, really liked, and that was the one where you had the girl follow you, and I knew that girl was bad news. I knew it. Once she
Oh
followed me,
yeah.
I was like,
Mhm.
I was like, I know you're evil. I know you're gonna turn into some heinous thingy. And sure enough, she did. So
It's really fun because I've never seen that before in video games where the person that's following you is the boss of the stage and you just have no idea until you get to the end. And I think that's really dope.
oh, how you've played Twilight Princess? I mean, granted, Link to the Past obviously came first, but you've played Twilight Princess, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep, that happens in Twilight, although not to this extent, but in Twilight Princess, it happens with the Yeti. The Yeti woman. I don't know if you recall that boss
Oh,
fight.
it does. That's right. I
Yep.
forgot about that. Wow. Right.
Mhm.
You were
No, I
absolutely
could
right.
never forget that boss fight. There's one boss I remember in Twilight Princess. It's that boss. I just,
Mhm.
ooh, mirror, pretty mirror, my mirror. I was like, oh my god.
Oof.
I was like,
She
oh,
was something else. Yeah. How
yeah.
could I
She
forget that?
that made me jump. Like I just could not freaking forget that. Oh my god, it scared me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Scared me as a kid. I was like, I don't like
Yeah.
this.
And it's I played it recently too, and it's still some scary stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that was a good question. But yeah, I still do think that I feel like I have to replay them both, but as it stands, yeah, I'd still say that Link to the Past just it's about that arsenal, man, and that freedom,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that's something that people long wanted from Zelda is that
Yeah.
freedom to just go, you know? But I personally don't mind the linear Zelda games. You know, Majora's Mask is my favorite. That is linear as heck. You have to do these dungeons in this order, you know? And while certain things become more available to you as you get different weapons and items and stuff, like you can, you know, when you become a Goron, you could smash through ice like cases, right? Like, okay, cool. You know, when you get certain arrows, you know, that's okay, cool. I can melt things now. Um, but I think that it just feels fitting for a Zelda game to go out and explore, you know? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's why I think that's more to the spirit of Zelda. Meanwhile, still having I even think that like Link to the Past did. I don't want to say it's better than Breath of the Wild because that's just not
It's
true.
not.
I think because Breath of the Wild it just expands on what Link to the Past. I would say Link to the Past has better dungeons. There we go. I'll say that. I will say that I like the dungeons more because I think the shrines in Ocarina of Time were cute, but they weren't full on dungeons. And then the 4 dungeons
Yeah.
that you could do, or not in Ocarina of Time, in Breath of the Wild,
Breath of the Wild.
but yeah, but in the dungeons you did do in Breath of the Wild, I thought those were very stale. I did not enjoy the dungeons in Breath of the
Yeah.
Wild at all. That was like probably my biggest criticism. Like I like puzzle games, you know, I like figuring things out. So I felt like my that like I don't know, it just wasn't that itch wasn't scratched. Even with the bosses too, I was very upset. That was just different elemental Ganons. Also, I found very lackluster and very like lame. I was like, "Oh,
Right.
okay." I was like,
Yeah.
"Whatever, I guess we're doing this again."
Hmm. Yeah. I hope
Uh,
that they iterate on Breath of the Wild 2 in that way, where there are some imaginative dungeons and temples. I like the shrines idea. I don't think I need 120 of them,
mhm.
but I would like maybe like half that and then some major temples to explore
Would
whenever I
you
want to.
yeah, yeah. Would you agree that, Breath of the Wild wasn't, had more land than it needed? Like, the map was bigger than what it warranted? Would you have rather seen maybe more little side things you could do, like, you know, pitfalls or, you know, burning bushes or, like, cutting certain pieces of grass or, like, you know, more hidden things to explore rather than shrine?
I don't know because I think when I think about that game, I don't really think about the shrines so much, and I really don't have much criticism about them. Like they are what they are, but I think that space, because it is just so massive, that to me is comforting in the way that I can just go about here for as long as I can, do whatever I want. I think it does get kind of redundant in some spaces here and there, but
Mhm.
and I would have liked some more life throughout the thing. I think that probably came from the limitation of the Wii U, since that is a Wii U game, not a Switch game technically. I think
Yeah.
we're going to get more of that in Breath of the Wild 2, where the land is not as what's the word I want to use, sporadic. You know, it's not as sparse as far as the life that's in there, because it's cool that you got to fight some enemies here and there, and you might find some Koroks. You're going to find a whole bunch of them, too many of them. But I don't know. I don't know that I have any criticism about it. I think it's fine. I think it's great, but I think there's still room for improvement, which I'm excited about, because that means that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be better than this one, which is wild to me. No pun intended.
I don't know. I found it more redundant, as you said, to like walk back and forth. And while you can teleport to different what do you call it, towers, which made it a little
Mm-hmm.
easier. And I mean, you got a horse eventually too. Once you get a horse, I guess it's not as bad. But one thing I really, really, really want to see expanded upon is companions. You know, I didn't like that you had
Yeah.
Sidon once and then like never he's gone. I was like, what? But I want more of Shark Daddy. Like, what's going on? You know, like I
Right.
want more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that would be cool if we could have a companion with us, like even if it's just one. You know, and I think that would add so much life to it, right? Where like if Sidon traveled with us and we go to a town, Sidon maybe has a conversation with someone because you know Link's the silent protagonist, so we just kind of hear a person and then kind of dialogue ends. But if
Yeah.
Sidon, like what's Sidon's insight on a town in the desert being a Zora? Oh, what's a Gerudo's insight on the Zora people? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I think that would just be so interesting. You know, it would be like different dialogue would happen with different party members. You know, even if it's just one party member, that would be super super cool. That'd
Yeah.
be awesome. And I just want more of them. Or maybe you can only have them travel in like their domain, which would be a little sad and restricting, but better than the one and done that we got in the first game. I definitely would like more party members, just a companion, because I don't know. I don't know. I kind of miss having a companion. You know, I like Navi, Tattletale, and Elslo, or any of them, even Fee, even though Fee annoys me. But you know,
Yeah.
Fee, whatever
Feast
we're
too
gonna call her.
much.
Yeah, she's a little
Yeah.
too much, but it feels like it just belongs there. You know, I just want a companion, even if it's Zelda. I'll take Zelda. We
It
like
needs
that.
to be Zelda. Like,
So
and I need to be able to switch back and forth through them with like
yeah,
Hyrule Warriors.
I'm
That'd be
cool with
dope.
that.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool if Zelda and Link go on an adventure together. Let's go. This is
Yeah.
exciting. You know, I
Yeah.
am here for that.
Mm-hmm. We're going to take another quick break, and when we return, we're going to speedrun with Lady Pelvic and also find out the DLC of her life. Stay tuned for that. And we're back here on SQE with Lady Pelvic, and it is time, y'all. It is time for the speed run. Okay. And for those of you listening who may not know what a speed run is, because I don't want to assume who's out here listening, it's where a player runs through a level or game as fast as they can. It involves a lot of failing up, getting to know the levels and the mechanics like the back of your hand, and getting the method down clean to a record pace. But the key here though, I'll ask our wonderful guest, Lady Pelvic, a series of rapid-fire personal questions. The faster they answer, the more questions we'll burn through. They'll have 2 minutes, because they did 1 minute last week, and there wasn't enough time to ask all the questions, so I'm going to bump it up to 2 here. 2 still fast, and the more questions Lady P answers, the more they clearly know themselves, and the higher, she'll rank on the SQE Speedrun leaderboard. But it's all love on the leaderboard, though, because it's not a competition, it's a collaboration, because here in the Land of Enthusia, we want everybody to win, and it's a chance for the questies out here to get to know Lady Pelvic better. So, Lady Pelvic,
I'm ready.
do you need another explanation?
No. Was that the first question? No, go.
Are you ready to begin your speed run?
I am so ready. I'm so excited. Okay.
All right, let's go. Timer is on. All right, what is your third favorite game of all time?
What the freak? Crap. Oh god, this is a lot. Oh my god, this is so bad. Can I lie? Can I just say a game that I really, really like? I'm just gonna say Wild Arms. Wild Arms, go!
Wild Arms, alright, cool. What is the last game you played?
Grandia.
Okay. What was your second game console?
GameCube?
Okay.
PlayStation.
PlayStation, okay. What is the best snack for gaming?
Something not sticky.
All right, I'll accept that. What year did you first play Ocarina of Time?
Probably 96, 97?
Okay, I'll accept that. What is a game that you've always wanted to play but haven't gotten around to?
Oh, Thousand Year Door.
Ooh, okay. What is a game that you really wanted to play, got to play, and was disappointed by?
East 8.
All right, I know that happened a lot to you last year. What is a game that you really didn't want to play, got to play, and was surprised that you actually liked it? 40 seconds left.
That I didn't think I would like? Or that I did like? Oh,
That you did like.
Alliance Alive. Alliance Alive.
Okay. According to your choice of default settings, do you press down to look up or down to look down?
Down to look down. Both. I do both. I'm weird. Down to be
Okay.
down.
Okay. 20 seconds. No one is not an acceptable answer, but you can skip this question. Who is your video game crush? And bonus half points if you can name more than one, but you can only name one and skip to the next question.
Link. Link. Ryan. Angelo. Yeah, we'll say Hawkeye. There you go. That's it. That's my-
And
Yeah.
that is time.
Oh man.
You did good. You did good. You got at least 9, and then we got the half points there. So you're coming in at 11.5. So
Okay,
on a
so-
scale of whatever, there's no limit here because you could just name a whole bunch of crushes. You got 11.5, and that's a pretty good number. So
Oh my
congratulations. You
Ooh,
know
that was
yourself pretty well.
Whew. Thank you. That was scary. I was like, oh my god. I was like, But you're like third favorite game. I'm like, what the heck? I was like, third. I was like, I don't know. Like first favorite game, got it. Second favorite game, got it. Third, whoa.
Because number 3 is important. You know, you gotta.
Oh my
I like
god.
to throw that curveball at people. So.
Wow, that was a curveball. I don't even know my third favorite game. I don't even know if I said it was true. I guess because I do love Wild Arms. I just don't know if I say it's my third favorite game. What the heck? Oh my god. Okay. That was straight. That was fun. That was like intense. I like that though. That was fun. That was fun. That was good. That was really good. Yeah. Ooh, that was I feel my heart like racing. I'm like my heart's like calming down, like, okay, it's okay, no one's gonna hurt you, it's fine, everything's fine.
You can't lose this game.
Oh man. That was good. That was a lot of fun. That was good.
Yeah, glad you enjoyed it.
Mhm.
So to wrap things up here on this episode, I like to bring on our guests and ask them, the inner game publisher in your life sees that you're on fire, because you are, and they want to make a DLC for the people to play of your life. The DLC is a way to define a side of you that people may not see or may see and is obvious to you, or it could be something that you don't get to share often, but it's still you. What is the name of the DLC of your life?
I would call it Ambrosia Animated. I like that.
Ooh, I like that.
Ambrosia Animated.
Word.
Yeah, I think it would do something like with art and whatnot. Art, dissecting just different artists and their skills and my skills, trying to draw like them, like, and maybe like draw in their style versus my style. I don't know. I think that'd be a lot of fun to do.
Yeah. Dope.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with our guest, Lady Pelvic. We're going to wrap it up here, but thank you so much for coming through and talking with us. Really appreciate it. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me primarily on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Pelvic Gaming. I'm also on Facebook, Pelvic Gaming. Twitter is actually Lady Pelvic. And then Instagram is also Lady Pelvic. I'm kind of all over the place, just put Lady Pelvic in your, in Google and you'll find me. But I advise you to put the safe search on when you do so because,
Yeah. There you go.
so yeah, there you go.
Awesome. All right, everyone, make sure you go show Lady Pelvic some love. As for us, you can follow SideQuest Enthusiast on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at SQEcast, and Peep Game on our website as well, sidequestenthusiast.com or sqecast.com if you don't feel like typing all that out. I'm Kyle V. Hiller, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kyle Literally. Support SideQuest Enthusiast by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/SQEcast and get exclusive DLC, including the bonus segment of this episode, or make a one-time donation at ko-fi.com/SQEcast. That's ko-fi.com/SQEcast. Every dollar goes a long way to keeping this show alive and elevating voices in the gaming space. Lady Pelvic, may the goddess smile upon you. And remember, say thank you in advance for what's already yours. Pork chop on the beat, and we're out. See you next time.
Deuces.
Come to me, Dark Warriors.